Let's bring in Fox News senior political analyst Brit Hume. Brit, I hear this story and I just think, I've heard this before.
Boy, have we ever. I mean, from the beginning, epidemiologists and other leading experts said that young people, particularly young children, were very nearly invulnerable to this disease. And yet we closed down the schools and colleges for the longest time. We closed down businesses, regardless of whether the people working in those businesses were young or old. All of this in the name of trying to prevent the spread of this disease, and yet look at how many people died from it anyway. There was a total failure all along the line to look carefully at the side effects of the measures that were being taken to fight the disease. And the collateral damage was terrible. I mean, we know about it in educational terms, we know about it in medical terms, and because people couldn't get appointments, that couldn't do regular health care, operations were postponed, cancer screenings that weren't done, the list goes on, and the damage is only now being toted up. I'm glad it is finally being toted up, and people are at last beginning to see that we did the wrong thing there.
It is amazing to see the stats being talked about openly. They were not for a very long time. The CDC acknowledging where this was a public policy miss in large part, but also politically. Here's President Biden talking about, at that point, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and what he was doing about COVID in Florida. Take a listen.
I say to these governors, please help. But if you aren't going to help, at least get out of the way. Use your power to save lives.
Now, this was about kids and masks. This was about the danger to kids. There are people who say we didn't know as much back then, but there were a lot of people who knew a lot about stats at the beginning, and yet it was a political, weapon at times.
It started out in some respects, Brett, it was the reaction to COVID was very much along the lines of how people reacted to Donald Trump. If they didn't like Trump, they were all for the measures to fight COVID and to blame him for not doing more, and to blame others like Governor DeSantis in Florida, who regulated with a much lighter hand than other governors did and ended up with no worse results. And he didn't shut down the schools, and he didn't shut down his state to nearly the extent that others did, and he came out in about the same place, or by some measures even better. So the COVID alarmists in many respects turned out to have the wrong prescription. These viruses do spread. The phrase I've heard again and again during this period is virus gonna virus, and it did, regardless of the measures we took, and those measures did incalculable damage.
And quickly, Britt, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, you're in Pennsylvania. You've got this big primary coming up tomorrow. We had one of the Senate candidates obviously on the show earlier. A big deal there in that state.
Yeah, it is, Brett. It's a very big deal because of the worry among Republicans this season is that they have this tremendous opportunity to regain control not just of the House, but also of the Senate and a number of governorships. The governorship is up this time around, and Trump has come out with an endorsement over the weekend that that was done apparently without consulting the Republican leaders. They're not happy about the guy he endorsed. They think he's too far out, that he couldn't win in the fall, and they'll hand the State House governor's chair back to allow the Democrats to keep it. And on the Senate side, he's endorsed Dr. Oz, who may well win, but the fear is that he can't be elected in the fall, and that the Trump heavy hand here will end up hurting the party instead of bringing it closer to victory. And the interesting thing about it is that the agenda nearly all these Republicans have up here in both races is very Trumpy. So, you're going to get the Trump agenda no matter who you vote for. The question is whether they'll vote for somebody who can actually win.
All right, Brent, as always, thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.